study Chapter 1 about our novel for this term, which is A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities. What are these two cities? They are England and France, or London and France. Okay? Now we are going to deal with the character. Number one, Dr. Manet. Dr. Manet was a doctor, and he was a good man, but he was imprisoned for about 18 years by a letter de cachet. What's a letter de cachet? It's an official document in which you can write any name of anyone, and he is sent to prison without no crime. Okay? Dr. Manet was a doctor. He was sent to prison for about 18 years by a letter de cachet. What's a letter de cachet? It's an official document by which someone's name can be written and be sent to prison for no reason. Okay? Number two, Lucy Manet. Lucy Manet was Dr. Manet's daughter. She was a pretty and gentle girl. Number three, Mr. Jarvis Lorry. Mr. Jarvis Lorry was Dr. Manet's best friend. He was 60 years old. He was a businessman. He doesn't have any feeling. He was just a practical man. Number four, Miss Pross. Miss Pross was Lucy Manet's servant, and she brought her up after her mother's death. The last one, J. Cruncher. J. Cruncher was the messenger who took the message to Mr. Jarvis Lorry in Chapter 1. Again, we will say again the character quickly. Number one, Dr. Manet. Number two, Lucy Manet. Number three, Mr. Jarvis Lorry. Number four, Miss Pross. Number five, J. Cruncher. Okay? Now we are going to deal with the main points of Chapter 1. Number one, there was much crime in England. There were a lot of robbers on the road. People were traveling out of London one night in November. They were afraid of each other, as there were a lot of robbers on the roads. Number two, the Dover Mail was going up a hill. It was a muddy and rainy night. The Dover Mail was going up a hill with the passengers walking beside it because of the hill, mud, and the heavy mail. There was a rider who was called Mr. J. Cruncher, who had a message to Mr. Jarvis Lorry from Tellson's Bank. Wait at Dover for Mansory. And he replied, recall to life. Here, he was having a message from Tellson's Bank to meet Lucy at Dover in order to restore her father back to life after 18 years of imprisonment. Okay? Number three, Mr. Jarvis Lorry was 60 years old. He was a businessman. He was an old friend to Dr. Manet, who was rich, gentleman, but he was imprisoned for about 18 years by a letter de cachet. Number four, Lucy Manet was Dr. Manet's daughter. She went to Dover to meet Mr. Jarvis Lorry to restore her father back to life. Number five, Mr. Jarvis Lorry met Lucy Manet at Dover. He told her that her father was still alive. And all these years she thought that her father died, so she was astonished. Okay? She didn't know that before. She didn't believe. She said that she was going to see his ghost, not him. Lucy fainted, and Miss Pross, her servant, blamed him for being deaf while telling her the truth. Okay? Now we are going to deal with the questions. Number one, why was Mr. Jarvis Lorry traveling to Dover? He was traveling to meet a young lady, Miss Manet. How did Miss Manet look like? She was pretty, intelligent, looking young lady, no more than 17, with golden hair and questioning blue eyes. Number three, comment. I received a letter yesterday from the bank informing me that something had been discovered about my father. Spirits were sent by Miss Manet to Mr. Lorry when she met him in a hotel in Dover. They sent for her to be told information about her father, as we knew that her father was still alive. How did Mr. Jarvis Lorry help Miss Manet at her every young age? He brought her to England set free alive, but greatly changing. He had been taken to the house of his old servant in Paris. What was Miss Matt's reaction to the news of her father? She didn't move. Her eyes were so fixed on Mr. Lewis that he was afraid that she might faint. Comment. Look at this poor girl with her cold hands and her white face. These words were said by the woman at the hotel to Mr. Lewis, and she cried at him angrily that he should have told her what he said in a more gentle way. Describe the suburb of Saint-Antoine. Saint-Antoine was a gray and miserable place. It was as if a dark, heavy cloud hung over it, a cloud that would bring cold